had this paper turned in. I started to say this is supposed to be extra credit. I was going to give you extra credit for doing this first part. If you don't have it turned in, it's not a big deal. You just don't get the extra credit. Annual rate. If the APR is 12%, this is going to be part of what we're going to do today, so you need to know how to do this. If the APR is 12%, what's the annual percentage rate then? 12%. If it's semi-annual, what do?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. So it's 12% divided by 2, which gives you what? 6%. Quarterly rate.
3%.
Divide by 4, so it ends up being 3%. Monthly rate. 1%, because it's divided by 12. Now when you get to daily rate, it's a little harder, because it's the 12% divided by what? 365. Somebody help us out on the calculator.
0.0328.
Now, here's where you got to be careful. This is still a...
Move the decimal over 1 and 0.0.
Oh, it's point. Get rid of that. So this is still a percentage. All right? If we wanted to change it to a decimal, then we'd have to bump the decimal over 2 places that way if we were going to do any math with it. On the 2 papers. On the first one, I'm not going to read all this to you. It says, give yourself, this is something I would, if I was you, I would read through it because it gives you ideas about credit cards and stuff. Give yourself credit, but be careful. But carefully is what it says. The inexperienced often, we talked a little about this last time, that's why I ran this off. The inexperienced, often careless use of credit card is a big reason why young adults today are referred to as generation debt. All right? Because a lot of people get these credit cards and it's not quite the same as it was when I was in school. When I was in school, I had in college, or once I turned 18, and that's what you'll see coming up. Probably right now, if you're still living at your house, you probably don't see it because your parents rip it up before you ever see it when they get the mail. You'll see all kinds of credit cards come, and the credit card comes in the mail, and in the envelope, and says, all you got to do is call this number to activate this. Now, again, you probably don't see it because your parents see it before you, and they say, yeah, we ain't giving Elijah this credit card, right? So it gets thrown away right away. They do it at colleges also. So when you go to college, parents aren't around, and I've seen a whole bunch of my college friends getting these credit cards. Oh yeah, I just got a new credit card, and it's got a $500 spending limit on. So we're going out this weekend, and we can just put everything on the credit card. So you got to be real careful when you're doing that. All right, because it would help your credit if you paid it off. It's going to kill your credit if you don't pay it off. All right. So credit card companies, and usually somebody your age, that'll be about the limit, is about $500 or so. Might be up to about $1,000 now with all the inflation and everything. But most of the time, $500, because they want to see if you're actually going to pay it off before they give you a whole bunch of money to go through. Had a credit card at one point, and the limit on it was like $25,000. I think I have another one right now, and the limit on it's right at like $20,000 or $18,000 or something. So you got to make sure you're not just putting everything on there.
Don't be like Ebersole.
Right. I put my credit card away. I think I told you guys last time. I put it away, and I'm not going to get it back out for a long time. Some students do not realize that a credit card contract is a legal document. That's why they wait till you're 18, because now it's a legal document that you sign to go into, and they can sue you for it. They can garnish your wages, whatever. do all that stuff. Many students do not understand how finance charges and late fees work. Got to know all these finance charges and stuff. Read that stuff. You get a credit card and it says it's got 28% interest rate on it. Probably don't want to mess with it too much. Many students have several cards and pay only the monthly minimums. We talked about that last time, monthly minimum. You put $1,000 on a credit card and pay the monthly minimum. It's going to take you about 70 years to pay it off. Students really rarely shop for credit cards and low interest rates. You get online and you look at it, you can find what the interest rate is. Now you got to be careful because we talked about this. And a whole lot of credit cards, let's say you get a letter in the mail today and you're looking at that credit card, and on that letter, big, right somewhere on the front, it's going to say something like 8% APR. That's not actually true. Then you look at the fine print down here and it'll do what I said would happen last time. And it'll say rate based on the, I always forget the name of it. What did we say last time, the name, what the rate that the federal government sets? Whatever.
No, that's federal income tax.
Yeah. What was it? It's got, they give it a special, prime, sorry. Prime rate plus whatever this percentage is.
What's the prime rate?
All right, prime rate is what the federal government says. Right now, prime rate is like 7%. Okay?
What's that 8%?
So, and then it's plus that 8%. So that means for your whole credit card, it's a 15%. And then the other stuff that they put in little fine print down here is that the interest is compounded daily, or something like that. All right? They compound it daily. That means every day they're charging you interest, and then the next day you pay interest on that interest, and so on, so on, so on, all the way down the road. So you got to read this stuff carefully. This probably wouldn't say 8%. It'd probably say like 15% or something. Most of them, I think I told you last time, most of them are prime plus 13%. 13% is about a normal that they charge you.
That's a waste of money, though.
The other thing, yeah, the other thing that it'll probably say with this 8%, even if it did say 8%, it'll probably say introduction rate for the first month. And then they'll say after that it goes to this. So that 8% that they're showing you there looks good, but if it only lasts for a certain amount of time or whatever, then you got to be really careful.
At 13% is $65 on 500.
On the back it says create a list of questions you would ask people running a credit card sign-up table on a college campus in order to decide whether the card is a good deal. And this doesn't have to be on a college campus. Every now and then when it warms up and stuff, you'll see them outside banks and stuff. They'll have their little table set up and, hey, come here, and try to Walmart or somewhere. Usually Walmart doesn't let them do it anymore. I think they only do newspapers now. Whoever, the people that own Walmart don't like anybody, so they don't let people do that stuff in their store, but other stores might.
Are you talking about donation?
No, credit card companies. So, but some stores, Kohl's, places like that, they want you to get their credit card. They'll set up a table.
When I worked there, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, they would threaten to fire you if you didn't get 5 credit cards a day. It was
Yeah.
bad.
I worked there too.
It was
So-
rough.
Did
When
you
they-
work in Richmond? Remember?
What are some questions that you would ask
Of course.
if you were signing up or getting ready to sign up?
What percentage?
What percentage? And make sure, now you know, don't just ask them the percentage, cause they could say, oh yeah, we're gonna charge you 8%. Say, is it 8% total? Or is that 8% plus whatever the prime rate is? Now, the bad thing is, you know, if they got Bo working this credit card table,
I'm lying to you. I'm keeping my job.
he's probably, number one, nothing against you, Bo. Bo probably doesn't have a clue whether, you know, what they're doing there, because he didn't read all the fine print and stuff on this. He didn't care, he's just worried about keeping his job. So,
Oh my God, you remember Chevy here?
She retired here. Melissa was terrible.
I didn't like her.
so you gotta be careful. So what else would you ask them? What else should you ask a credit card company?
What's the spending limit?
Spending limit? Right? If somebody's willing to give Aiden a credit card that has a spending limit of $10,000 on it right now.
They're out of their damn mind.
Exactly. Now watch your mouth, but that, most definitely.
Yeah,
So there's something not right,
I think I'd throw it away.
all right? Something's not right. If it's one of, you know, somebody your guys' age, if the limit's more than $500 or $1,000, something isn't right.
It's a scam.
It's something. All right? What else would you ask them?
Is it compounded? Compound.
How's the interest
Compound.
compounded? Is it compounded daily, monthly? The way that we're gonna go over it today, it's not compounded daily or monthly, and again, and I'll tell you as we go over it, most cards probably don't do this anymore, but sometimes, they'll do just what's not paid off each month. All right? Probably most cards, if that's the case, Elijah, that'd be a good card to have, because if you pay it off at the end of the month, every time, then you don't have to worry about paying the interest. Other questions?
Is that it?
I don't know, is that all of them? Is that all you'd ask?
How many years? Well,
You
how
might
many
ask.
years can you have the same card?
Forever.
Forever? Till you die?
Yep. You might ask, what's the minimum percentage of payment? Something like that. That might not be the greatest question to ask, because I don't want Aiden paying the minimum amount every time. Be nice to just pay it off and not have to pay them a whole bunch of interest, right?
It'd be a good thing to know.
But it'd be a good thing to know, say, if I do get stuck somewhere, I have to buy a brand new refrigerator and I don't have $2,000 to pay it off right away, what's the minimum amount that I can pay if I'm stuck that month? Because they may tell you the minimum amount to pay is 50%. Well, then it's probably not gonna do you a whole lot of good.
So a credit card, like, if you use it and then you pay it off that next month or whatever, do you got to pay the interest on that?
See, different credit cards, and that's part of what we're gonna talk about today. Different credit cards are set up different ways. So the ones that we're gonna talk about today is probably the old way, where if you paid it off by a certain date in the month, like the 28th or something, then you didn't have to pay any interest.
I mean, like, so, like, when, say you charge $200 or whatever, and then pay it that month with the interest rate or whatever. These two. And then you're good till you charge again.
Right. Yeah, as long as you didn't leave anything on it.
So as long as you pay it off, you don't get charged.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
To have it.
Well, some do have a fee now. So you'll have to, that might be another question you ask. Is there a normal annual fee for having your credit card? Because some credit cards do have an annual fee. I was just at the bank the other day and they had their bank card at LCNB down at Eaton.
Yeah.
Their bank card, they have a big sign out front that says no annual fees. Well, if theirs says no annual fees for their bank card, what's that tell you about some other banks? They have annual fees. Somebody has annual fees, otherwise they wouldn't put that on there.
I think I would like the one no need.
Right. Checking accounts are the same way. You know, when you do a checking account, you need to decide is there annual fees? Are they charging me something? Now, they told me, when I was talking to the woman, they have a checking account that if you do certain number of, transactions in your checking account per month, they pay you like $7.50.
Every time?
Yeah, every month. So,
Sick.
I'm not sure, where that comes from and stuff, but you gotta do so many transactions. Cause I was trying to get that same checking account for the school, cause I thought, well, we'll get that and then I'll make some money, a little bit of money for the school every month. And they said that I can't have it because,
Because of the school.
that's part of it, but most of it was, I don't make enough transactions per month. Cause for the school account, I might write 3 checks a month or something. You gotta make
Yeah,
like
bump it up.
12 or 20 or something a month. So,
That's easy for bills.
right, if you're just a normal person, and writing all your bills out of that checking account, then that's probably not a big deal. Looking at the other paper, what's some advantages, and we talked a little bit about this, what's some advantages for having a credit card?
Credit.
Gives you credit? What as far, so, what do you mean? Because that's a lot.
Gives you credit,
Yeah, bills
so you can build credit.
So you can build credit,
So you-
that'll help you with other things, like getting a mortgage and so on and so on. What'd you say, Kyler?
That's sense.
Same thing?
Build.
What else? So it helps you build credit?
It gives you, responsibilities.
All right. So teaches you to be responsible? I'd accept that. What else? All right, you don't have to pay it every day?
It would be good in case of emergencies.
Emergencies, that's a big one. Now, Ebersole's stupid. He doesn't use it just in case of emergencies. Like I have this part in my pocket right now, and it's just killing me, because I need this part to finish something that I'm doing.
You can't find it.
All right, I need a part to finish what I'm doing, and I wanna go buy it, but I don't wanna spend the money now. So, I probably shouldn't keep this in my pocket, I should probably put it somewhere else, cause it reminds me. If I just get that part, I can finish, and then I wanna spend the money. All right, but my wife's already upset with me, so, she's not talking to me now, which,
And they do that.
yeah, and
They do that with.
nothing against the rest of you young ladies, but
My dad's been on
I've been
couch.
crying since she hasn't been talking to me, you can probably tell, right? I don't know why she thinks that that's a horrible thing for Ebersole,
Just
because
get the silent treatment.
I don't talk to anybody, if I'm not in here talking, if you see me at a basketball game or a football game or something, anybody ever see me at a basketball or football game or anywhere? If you see me there,
Talking?
did you see a whole bunch of people sitting next to me? No, I sat all by myself. The only time somebody sits next to me is every now and then. Mr. Harrison will sit next to me sometimes. He doesn't talk much either, so that works out all right. Mr. Fisher will sit next to me every now and then, which that annoys me because he likes to talk all the time.
Yeah,
Probably shouldn't have reported that, should I? He's my boss.
you should probably tap it in and
Don't-
listen.
Hey, I see the look on your face, don't be forwarding this video to him when I send it to you guys, all right? I've seen that look on your face.
No, he's tapping in and.
I'm sorry to
he's
say it,
listening.
but I look at the videos.
So disadvantages, what's disadvantages of a credit card?
High interest.
High interest rates.
Damaging credit.
Could damage your credit, instead of helping, it could kill your credit, right?
How do they say high interest?
High interest rates, yeah.
Not knowing how they fully work. with
Right.
everyone.
That's a big one. You gotta know, and I know it's hard. You just see me with this paper. Did I read all of that to you word for word? Because I hate reading. But when it comes to something important, you better read it. better know what's going on. Alright? Don't just take it for granted that, oh yeah, this was Johnny that I got this credit card from. He's a nice guy. Man, he was really sweet and everything, nice to me. Or Kylie back there going, oh yeah, Johnny, he was hot, man.
That's what my grandpa said when he came home with the truck. Oh, she talked me into it. She's pretty cute.
And don't think that they don't do stuff like that. We went to buy my wife's car, and they seen her walking around the parking lot. Guess who they sent out?
Salesman?
Some guy. They seen me because I just let her go, and I walked over somewhere else looking at all these high dollar things that I can't afford anyway. They sent out a female. Some female came out, oh, can I help you? You know, smiling at me and stuff, and
Heck
I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, come on now, I'm big, fat, and old. Don't try to flirt with me because I know it's a bunch of crap.
Was she at least a cutie?
Oh yeah, she was cute. That's what I'm saying. I knew that that was a ridiculous thing for them to even try to do because
A
I.
scam.
All right, on today's stuff, unpaid balance. This is one way a credit card could work. This is what Dylan was asking about. Different credit cards, and that's what the rest of this chapter will go over. Different credit cards do it different ways. Some of them do the unpaid balance. So you get to a certain day in the month, they look at your balance, that's what they charge you interest on. Most credit cards don't do it this way anymore. Any idea why most of them don't do it this way anymore? They weren't making as much money. It's easier now with computers and everything that they could just tell the computer, set up a program, tell the computer, hey, do this each day at 8 o'clock in the evening, and add in that interest rate, or add in that interest amount.
There's a lot of people probably.
If you can get, and some, I shouldn't say most don't, because some still do. If you can get a credit card that does the unpaid balance method, like some bank credit cards might be that way, some credit union, if you belong to a credit union, like Wright Patterson Credit Union or something like that, I think their credit cards still do that. So they're just giving you that line of credit, and you can pay it off right away, or before the end of the month, then they won't charge you because they want you to keep your business.
I hope so.
What is it?
You must be pretty knocked out.
Annoying,
Huh?
annoying.
Or imagine this in your ear, this.
It goes.
It's just a buzzing sound. You must be pretty knocked out. So.
Is he snoring?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
That, yeah.
He was all awake this morning.
That's what he said a little while ago.
No.
wasn't
Should do that.
it? At least on the week.
Slurp it.
Didn't last very long.
Or just do that.
You don't have that pen cap.
Sorry, Seth. I'll go back.
I'm sorry, no, it's just.
You're right, go ahead.
There's a lot of information.
Yeah, I forgot. It took me a while to start making pencils, so.
You can,
Or
you
you
can
should,
write the basics.
you should have make pay and snap and
A snap.
snap.
Or whistle really loud. No. I mean, like in his ear.
We should play stacks up.
I'll let her get up there. I'll kind of whistle.
Jenga.
What is it?
Fish Jenga.
I was young, I could whistle and roll.
Not really, but I can be
I
positive
thought you
about
did
it. Because I missed
Fish
my
Ebersole
eye.
probably can use two fingers.
My goodness. It tasted like liquid cream. It was amazing.
Do a whistle and spit in their ear.
I don't, well,
How
I
do you do it with
Ow.
two fingers? Like,
You have to hold them a certain way.
so you just spit everywhere.
You can probably, I'm sure you can look it up online and some of those.
Yeah, I've seen people like roll their tongue back with their fingers and press it down, and then like just whistle. It's weird.
Just tickle them, that's all they're gonna do.
Were you trying to figure out how to whistle?
Yeah, I didn't even learn how to whistle until I was like 14. I didn't learn how to snap until I was 10.
I can't.
I can now, but
Do
I
like
couldn't
new
whistle
things
when I
every
was
day.
that old.
I did that to the girl in the hall.
Did you make it?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one.
No,
Why?
do not be throwing my stuff.
I'll pick it up.
No,
He said no.
because I said no, thank you.
We're here to learn, not cooking.
He can, let him sleep, man.
Mr. Ebersole.
No, Mr. Ebersole, it's okay, cause Skylar will yell at us.
Well, I can't say much because I did fall asleep last class. I haven't been sleeping.
But
very well.
you are here now.
That guy was up
Yeah,
at
I'm
6:30.
I'm tired of yelling at him. I yell at him every like at least 3 times a week. Like I'm done with it. I'm not yelling at him
So
anymore.
now you know how I feel, right?
Yeah, he'll learn when he needs to.
By the way,
Love him to
I'll
death.
fucking read
I'll do
this.
anything for him, but
I have like scars on my side from the tree I didn't
I'm not gonna talk my ear off for nothing.
Alright, it's good enough, Seth. Did this in kindergarten when we got to spell it, eh?
I just wrote it to
I used to be bad at it, like I would, 3 letters.
You couldn't spell snake to save your life.
Shut up.
Hey,
Now
Dylan.
don't bring this up
Dylan.
again. I already had to
Dylan.
get
Shush.
Why are you shushing?
slithering snake.
Can you even spell snake?
Yes, he can now.
He can now.
It was like 6th
Can you
grade.
spell on?
Alright, these are the formulas that we're gonna use. This isn't very difficult. The stuff that we get to later on this chapter is gonna be a little more difficult. The unpaid balance equals the previous balance minus all the payments or credits that you have for that credit card. Once you find the unpaid balance, that's what's gonna go in here so that we can figure out your finance charge. And that's just times the periodic rate. You got to make sure, those that we did there at the very beginning, those are the periodic rates. Not the 12%. You gotta make sure it's what percentage for that period. So you gotta take the APR divided by how many periods per year there is. That's your finance charge. Is that how much you're gonna pay? No, you got your finance charge, that's where you come to this next thing. Your new balance is gonna be the unpaid balance, the new unpaid balance, plus the finance charge, plus any new purchases that you have. So you gotta know in a problem which one they're asking you for. Are they asking you just to find the unpaid balance? Are they asking you to find your finance charge for that month or that week or day, whatever? And then you gotta figure out what's your new balance after all that. Again, periodic rate down there at the bottom. You have to do that. You have to take the percentage, whatever the percentage is that card is charging you, and divide it by how many periods per year. If it's annual, then it's just 1. You're dividing by 1. If it's semi-annual, you're dividing by 2. If it's quarterly, you're dividing by
3. Quarterly.
4. If it's monthly, you're dividing by 12.
If it's yearly.
If it's yearly, if it's daily, you're dividing by 365 5, unless they tell you different. I think I mentioned this last time.
360 days.
Sometimes it'll be 360, and that's, we're gonna, as we go through this chapter, I think one of the sections deals with that.
I'll stun yours.
Mine too. I ate it.
Want me to smack you on top of the head?
Oh, because that hurts too. I hit my head on the chair yesterday.
And your knee hurts.
You know your butt's supposed to go on the chair, not your head, right?
Is that when you fell over?
I fell backwards on Tate's leg yesterday, and then they were sitting behind me. And I took a step backwards because me and were in the play fighting. And Tate's feet were right there, and then I just went like this.
Bring yourself.
I seen black, and Tage said I went limp in his arms, and I opened my eyes on the floor.
Wait, you talking about an anything?
Yep.
That's why you were on the ground?
Yep.
Did you not see the look on his face? He was just like,
I thought he was asleep.
Tage said your
When
body
did that
went limp.
happen?
Yesterday.
Fourth block.
Fourth block. Tage said your body went limp. I got kind of worried. I went, my body went limp.
Limp.
Did you get it checked out?
No, because it's a one-time.
It'll be alright, it'll go.
That doesn't sound like a normal everyday thing to happen.
I just knocked myself out on the chair for a couple seconds.
You ever fell off of a plate
Yes,
set?
if you get knocked out for more than like 5 minutes, then you can kind of start worrying.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they picked one of those. So long as I have the first block.
Oh my gosh, you're juicing everywhere.
But other days, I have it on the third block.
Right, follow that you second. Third.
All that flopper coming out of the straw.
I have.
What?
Huh?
Huh?
Oh, Skylar from Austin.
I got 3 more apexes to do. And I'll be done.
It's getting close, so we need to ramp it up a little bit, get them out, get them out of the way.
Get them done, I'll be out of here in half day.
Right.
Won't see you.
Actually, you would be good pick up these butts.
That's true. I'll show up later.
We still have to pass this class.
I think I can easily pass this one. You told me I don't fail that test. I think.
No, I think I told you you were going to the previous test, but you didn't do so well on it.
The other one.
no, seriously.
Huh?
The other one.
Makes
I did
sense,
well.
honestly.
I knew every answer.
She's a woman. She's not.
I said I was worried because you were doing the same thing, just cheating on the homework and not doing it anymore. So I was worried
That you were going
that
to
that, that was going to continue.
But I proved you wrong.
Proved me right on the previous test. So right now, it seems like we're sort of even, and we don't really know which way.
Which way it's gonna go? I think I'll pass your class anyway.
I hope you're right. I'm not sure why we're having this conversation.
It's not just going past
It,
you,
it,
it's
it,
because of you.
Bo, it sounds like
Competition.
he thinks I want him to fail this class.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Do your
I'm
own
not sure
work.
where that comes from.
Don't cheat.
Tage, I want you to fail this class. Do you think that way?
I did.
Melinda Baxter's charge account statement shows an unpaid balance of $321.06. How about your calculator so you can help me here? The monthly finance charge is 1.5% of the unpaid balance. What is the finance charge? So this time they're just asking you for the finance charge. So if we go back here, we're just trying to find this. So you take the unpaid balance times the periodic rate. They already told us the periodic rate. That's a 1.5. Monthly finance charge is the periodic rate. What do we have to do to that periodic rate before we can multiply it?
Read the decimal.
So what's it end up in?
0.15.
Point
0.15.
0.015. Remember, bump it 2 places every time, no matter what. Somebody multiply that. $4.82.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it means they're charging her, the finance charge is about $5. Does that mean she only owes the company $5 now? No, that's just how much extra she owes the company.
The $5 plus the $3.
Right, plus the $321.06, plus any other charges that she might have made after that. Roland's charge account statement shows an unpaid balance of $925. Monthly finance charge of 1.75 of the unpaid balance. What's the new account balance? A little different this time. What are we gonna do first?
Read the decimal.
Move the decimal. What's it give you?
0.0175.
And we're gonna times that by the $925. What's that give us?
$16.19.
Does that make sense that they're gonna charge him about $16 for that month for $925? Yeah. If you came up with this, which I guarantee some of you will in the next test, the finance charge is $1,619. Does that make any sense? So you gotta make sure that your answer makes sense
It can't be above
on
the
these.
amount.
It shouldn't be above that amount, and if it is, that means they're charging you an awful lot of interest, and you probably should get rid of that. Is that our answer?
No.
Add that plus the 920.
This time, they want the new account balance, so you gotta add that to the $925. What's that give us?
941.19.
Does that make sense for his new account balance to be $941.19? Yeah.
Sounds pretty sick, man.
Maria's charge account uses unpaid balance method to compute the finance charge. The monthly rate is 2.5%. During the month, she charged $329.08, made a $400 payment, and had an $18.50 finance charge. What is her new balance?
1850.
This time, we're gonna have to use all of that stuff, right?
329.08.
What's the first thing that we're gonna do?
329.08 times what? 2.5. Well, 0.025.
What's that give us?
$8.22.
22?
23.
23?
And then
What's $8.23?
for monthly rate? Charges that monthly rate of
What's that? That's the,
Service, or the finance.
that's the finance charge. Now, what's this then? It says she already had a finance charge.
Another one.
That was the finance charge apparently from the last month that got added into the new stuff, all right?
329 times.
So what do we do with 329.08? What are we gonna do to find the new balance?
Times that
Add the
by-
finance charge.
Add this finance charge? Is that all we're gonna add?
Plus the 1850.
Plus the 1850 also, because that's another finance charge. Is that it?
Yeah.
So we add all that up, what do we get?
755.
That sounds awful.
755.81.
355.8.
That's what I got. 355.81.
Anybody have any idea what Kylie might have done there, that she got the wrong answer?
Yeah, add the one.
She put, I bet you put one of these decimals in the wrong spot to get 700 and something.
And then The 400, why is that?
So it says made a payment of $400.
So you minus it?
Minus that, what happens there?
A negative.
So what's that telling us?
They got $44.19 credit or extra money.
All right, and this is where credit, when we see it says credits, well, if you overpay for that month, then they'll just keep that in there as credits towards your next month's stuff.
Kind of like if you pay car insurance a little bit more,
Right.
it can go in the next month. That's pretty cool.
Now, if you do mortgages, with mortgage, don't let them give you credit, all right? With a mortgage, a lot of times at a bank, you'll have to tell them. Let's say your mortgage is $400, and you want to pay $500 this month. You need to tell them, hey, I'm paying my mortgage for this month, and this extra $100, I want put towards the balance of my account. Otherwise, guess what they do? They just keep that $100 for the next month and say, oh, you had $100 in credit. Don't let them do that, all right? Because if you go ahead and pay that extra $100, and if you do that for the whole year, and a good bank should explain this to you. If you go in there and you're getting a mortgage, or a good mortgage company, and you pay one extra mortgage payment per year, it drops your years of your mortgage by like 2 years. So every time you pay an extra mortgage payment, it'll drop years that you end up paying that mortgage lower and lower. Usually a mortgage is 20 years, 30 years, 25 years, something like that. I think my son, when he just took his out, because he's been living at home for a long time, he has a bunch of money saved up, I think he took his out for 10 years. And if you can take out a mortgage for 10 years, spectacular. Because the less time you pay them, we talked about this when we were doing stuff like this, the less time you pay them, the less you actually end up paying for the house. I think we looked at stuff.
Do you get less of a rate or credit?
Yeah, you can, and that's why we talked about that too when we were talking about mortgages. There's points. You can pay extra up front, and you get points added, or not points added, they're actually subtracted. So they're giving you like brownie points, and if your interest rate is 7%, my son paid, I think he came home and he said he figured out that his interest rate was going to be 7%. He told him he wanted the loan for 10 years, so they gave him a point. And he also paid an extra $10,000 down. That gave him another point. And what those points are is points off of this percentage rate.
5%.
So now his mortgage rate is 5% instead of 7%. All right?
Can it go down more than that now?
Yeah, and there's probably a
Will rates
limit.
go back down?
Yeah. Well, and again, if rates go back down, that's only if he set it up, and I don't know because I didn't ask. I don't know if he set it up as a variable rate or as a fixed rate. I'm guessing he set it up as a fixed rate because everybody's talking about the rates going higher from here.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he set it up as a fixed rate. Now, if you want, 2 years down the road, if the rates start dropping back down, he could go back in and refinance his house and set it up as a variable rate. But the problem with that is when you go in and you do all that refinancing, they charge you all the paper fees and everything again, and I think he said the paper fees, because I told him at the beginning, I said, all the closing costs and everything, I said, make the seller pay the closing costs, because nobody ever thinks about how much they are. Seems like they were like $8,000 or $9,000.
Jeez.
So that's just for all the paper fees and all the.
They make money.
Yeah. Everybody's got to have their hand into it. So part of that money goes to the county, because the county has to look at the deed and make sure the deed's clear, make sure that, you know, it wasn't stolen from somebody, or somebody else has got a loan on it for $1 million or something and hasn't paid it off, and so they gotta make sure all that. And then the records office down at Eaton, or, you know, for you guys, it'd be down Eaton or wherever the house is at. The records office, you gotta go in there and you gotta sign something, and then they go and they take the deed and they put it over into your name. Takes all about 2 minutes, costs you about $600. Yes? Yes?
That sounds like.
Sure.
So that $10,000 goes real easy then.
I want you in the office.
If they put if he put $10,000 and had to pay it, he basically just put his down payment as closing costs.
Right. And that's, I think, when he did all this other stuff, when he got the points off and everything, I don't think he went back and told them that the seller needed to pay the closing costs, which he should have. And I think he screwed up there, yeah, but that was.
Did he get a good deal on it though?
No, I didn't think so, but that's.
What he paid for it?
Again, that's between him and my wife, because I just stayed out of it. Because when I went and looked at the house, in no way, shape, or form would I pay that much money for this place.
Oh, hey, what do we do with this paper?
Yeah.
5 acres.
Just keep it.
Probably not even 5 acres, probably 2.5 acres.
I think it was 5 acres. If it was 5 acres, they paid, I think it was right at 200,000.
They at least have a barn.
Yeah, but it's a crappy one.
You need to give Simon yours to that in.
The what?
Give me a second.
Yeah, you were supposed to put it in the tray up there.
The problem is right now, you should just wait.